afternoon, everybody, and a final welcome to the ESU-Churchill public speaking competition here on Zoom. Today, we will be discussing how and why we are more prepared to believe lies than we are the truth. A prevalent topic in today's society, especially with the growing spread of misinformation in the midst of this pandemic. An issue serious enough to manifest detrimental effects, such as this: 8 parts garlic and 7 parts water. A concoction I had to drink for 7 days after a forwarded message on my family group chat highlighted this as the cure for coronavirus. However, it served a rather short-lived fantasy since I tested positive a week later. Speaking on this topic is Kathleen Head from St. Edmund School, who is here today since she wishes to inspire people to hold the truth accountable. And undertaking the role of questioner for this presentation is Matilda from Chelmsford County High School, the role being particularly fitting for her as she has participated in multiple magistrates competitions. And my name is Khalen but fortunately you can just remember me as Khalen, and I will be your chairperson for this presentation. So without further ado, I'd love to invite Kathleen to take the stage.
Winston Churchill once remarked, "A lie gets halfway around the world before the truth has a chance to get its pants on." In truth, however, Churchill plagiarised Mark Twain, who borrowed these words from a Victorian preacher. I decided, given that I am speaking as part of the Churchill English Speaking Union public speaking competition, it served me better to give the credit to Winston. It's not a lie, but it's also not the truth either. In fact, researchers for the MIT's Media Lab confirmed the truth behind the message of this quote in our modern era, concluding that it took the truth 6 times as long as the lies to reach 1,500 people on social media. And whilst you might comfort yourselves by thinking of the truth and lies as the proverbial hare and tortoise, you would in fact be wrong, because the lies also had a far greater reach. This begs the question, what is so attractive about lies? The first answer is surprisingly simple. Lies provide novelty that the truth can never achieve. Reality is so boring, so messy. Our minds crave that compelling or scandalous narrative, the cinematically evil villain, the evidence that unambiguously points the finger in one direction. I am going to tell you a story. Why? Because the science has proven that we would rather hear an interesting story than cold, hard facts. So let me tell you a true story. It's 1938. Orson Welles, Hollywood's rising star and the man behind the masterpiece of cinema, Citizen Kane, ventures into the realm of radio drama. He produces an adaptation of H.G. Wells' science fiction novel, The War of the Worlds. But the reaction is not quite the song of praise he expected. Rather, panic ensues across the great states of America as thousands mistake the drama for a real news broadcast, truly believing that aliens were invading the US. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the cinematic villain of extraterrestrial proportions. The second reason why we prefer lies is slightly more complex. We believe stories that confirm our pre-existing beliefs about society, or that take advantage of deep-rooted unconscious bias. Here, the true danger and harm of lies is exposed. For 29-year-old Marwa Esaladar, Egypt's first female sea captain, a sensationalized fake news campaign threatened to ruin her career. Earlier this year, she was wrongly blamed for the blockage of the world's most important strategic marine route, the Suez Canal, jeopardizing billions of dollars in daily trade. The news headline changed from "Egypt's first female captain is riding the waves of success" to "Cargo ship crashes into the Suez Canal, first female Lloyd Arab captain involved." Compelling narrative, check. The cinematic villain, check. The unambiguous evidence that points in one direction, not quite. See, at the time of the blockage, Captain Esaladar was working many miles away in the Mediterranean port of Alexandria. The media took advantage of the bias against women in the seafaring industry, attributing blame where it did not belong, showing us that it is not simply the lie that we are more prepared to believe, but how the information is presented and sensationalized. What reason should we have to doubt mainstream news outlets? Why can't we put our trust in journalists to tell the truth? I would like to tell you another story. This one begins much earlier, in the January of 1692. 3 young girls, one the daughter of the pastor, fall ill and mysteriously begin having fits. They shout, they scream, and they contort themselves into strange positions. Without the knowledge of modern medicine, a local doctor places the blame on witchcraft. And by February, magistrates have forced the girls into identifying 3 women as their assailants, thus beginning the Salem witch trials. This story ticks every box on the list, but it also establishes a very dangerous precedent. See, throughout history, it is clear that we are a society fixated on blame. Someone to blame, something to blame. And lies fuel this need. Powerful people manipulate the truth to serve their own agenda, and naive people are prepared to believe them simply out of fear or blind ignorance. When a witness stands in court, they put their hand on a holy scripture and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. This is the standard to which we must hold the media, the news, and ourselves to become a society that is not inclined to tell lies and not prepared to believe them. From the Gospel of John, the truth will set you free. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'd now like to hand over to Matilda to further our discussion.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's an honour for me to be questioner for this presentation this afternoon after hearing Kathleen's absolutely captivating speech. I would now like to further this discussion and ask some further questions. So you talked within your speech about unconscious bias and how this impacts what we believe. So how would you suggest that we're able to tackle our unconscious bias and make sure that it doesn't impact what we're more likely to believe?
Earlier, we heard a speech about how judges have to take courses to remove unconscious bias in courts. But most recently, what we have seen is our society really beginning to take stock of the unconscious bias that we all hold, particularly after the death of George Floyd and the protests that ensued not only across America, but in this country as well. And I think that's how we get rid of unconscious bias, is we question our actions and we realise that we hold unconscious bias. Because if we don't realise that we are holding it, how can we hope to get rid of it?
Well, thank you very much for that answer. I thought it was extremely interesting. And one thing that I picked up from that is that you told us that we should be questioning our own actions based upon the bias that we may have unconsciously. And I'd like to ask you, how would you suggest that someone like you or me starts to question what we do on a daily basis to make sure that what we do doesn't impact anyone based on unconscious bias?
I think what we have to do is we have to look at what we are saying, similar to previous speeches that have explained about what we have to post on social media and the impact of what we post. We simply have to do that, but with everything we say and our actions and how we treat other people. We have to realise that our actions have consequences, and that even if we don't realise what we're saying is wrong, we have to look at it from the perspective of the other person and think about how they might feel about what we said or what we did.
Thank you very much for that. And my final quick question, because I think we've got just a little bit more time, is you talk about the truth being able to spread 6 times as quickly, lies being able to spread 6 times as quickly as the truth. So how would you suggest that we make sure that the truth is able to be spread quicker than these lies?
I think, unfortunately, the lies will always spread quicker. So the solution to the problem is eradicating the lies rather than expecting the truth to simply gain velocity. And how we do that is simply by holding ourselves to the standard of particularly posting on social media, checking our facts, making sure that when we read something, we say, is that true? Where have I heard that? Where's the proof? Who are the sources?
Thank you for that. That's all I'm able to ask for today. Thank you.
Okay, so now I believe it's time for some more thank yous. Firstly, I'd love to say thank you to Kathleen for her really delightful speech. It really highlighted some important points on the comfort that lies can provide us, which I'm sure we can all take away from. She illustrated with 3 fascinating real-life examples, one of which being the 1938 adaptation of War of the World, which enveloped America in the fear of an alien invasion, making the point that although powerful people may manipulate the truth, we as receivers must challenge this in order to find the truth. Thank you so much to Matilda for your thoughtful questions that explored more on recognising and tackling a person's unconscious bias. And thank you so much to the timekeeper and to the judges who have been watching very attentively through their screens. I hope that you've enjoyed today's presentation.